Get to the church plant! Get to the church plant! Go! Now!
I'm Pete Mitchell, and he's Peyton Jones, and you're listening to Hardcore Church Planning, the companion podcast for the Church Planner Podcast and Church Planner Magazine. Each week, we'll bring you interviews from planners who are in the trenches making it happen right now. These active church planners bear it all, share their successes, their failures, and what they'd wish they'd known when they were first starting out. Listen in to discover how God is working in their church plant.
You know, when I have a large project at home, sometimes it makes sense to do it by myself. At other times, I actually save money in the long term and have a much better solution if I use an expert. It's really not that much different with church planning. Church planners who focus on building their core team and actually planting the church and partner with portability experts like Portable Church Industries hit the ground running. Yes, you may have to raise more funds up front, but let me tell you something. If I could go back in a time machine and do one thing different in all the churches that I planted, I would go back and have invested that money in Portable Church and all of the super cool kit that they give you to make the volunteers and their lives much, much easier. Trust me, your volunteers will feel invested in, and they're going to give you more of what they got. And that time where people are setting up is going to be a time where it sets the atmosphere for you to thrive. If you're thinking about launching in the next 6 to 36 months, we encourage you to check them out at portablechurch.com.
Hey, Church Planner, this is Pete Mitchell.
And this is Peyton Jones.
And we have got a special kind of crossover episode here, which is, well, we haven't done one of these in a while, so I'm kind of excited by it. Peyton, why don't you introduce our guest that we've got?
Yeah, so we have Jeff Presley from Causley.com. Jeff, welcome to the show, and are you related to the King?
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And I knew that would be the first question. I get it all the time. As a matter of fact, when I married my wife, she went from being Cunningham to Presley, and I said, believe it or not, you're going to get this question the rest of your life. She doubted me until like the first week. She was like, you know what, you're right. So long story, but yes, we are related, but not close enough.
Yes.
Not close enough to get any sort of inheritance. Listen, I couldn't even get into Graceland for free. Show the driver's license.
No way.
Show the driver's license. They don't care. They've seen plenty of Presley. So
5% off at the gift store?
Not even that. They don't care. They don't care. But yes, because my dad and his brothers and sisters got it so much, my aunt finally decided we're going to figure this out because we can't answer it. So she dug through marriage licenses and birth certificates and all that. And sure enough, there's a common father. It goes back to Andrew Jackson Presley, believe it or not.
Way.
Yeah. So,
dude,
pretty cool.
You know what? That's just cool, though. You got bragging rights. That is worth more than anything else. I mean, I am
using that as a promo for the podcast. We've got a relative.
Listen, I'm going to make it even sweeter. So here's what you say. And I'm also related by marriage to Nicolas Cage and Michael Jackson.
What?
Right? At least at some point I was. By
Holy
marriage.
Cow. Man, we
cool.
need to do this, Pete. This is like when you go to the medium and they tell you related to other people in your past life.
Oh my God.
I was at Thermopylae. I was a Spartan.
Okay, now he's really worried about what our show is all about. Thanks for doing that one.
He is. Causley.com is one of our sponsors. So we better get into this, therefore. We never behave. But no. Should we behave?
We should. So, Jeff, here's the first question for you. One of the things we always like to ask people when they first come on the show is tell us your story of how you came to faith and how you got running this company that you're running, and we'll get into what you guys do in just a minute.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So, I've been going to church all my life. I grew up in the church. Very fortunate. I consider myself very fortunate. Mom and dad took me to church. It was one of those stories where, we were Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, and any other time something was going on at the church. So honestly, it's basically all I've ever known was church life. I was baptized at the age of 7, and my brother and I were baptized on the same day. He's 4 years older than I am. So really just grew up in the church. All of even my extended family, for the most part, my uncles, my aunts, my grandparents were all Christians. And so while I say it was natural to become a Christian, it was something that I remember wanting to do. It was definitely was a decision. There was no pressure there. My parents were great about that. So since an early age, I've been a Christian. I've been around the church. I've been in the church. I even spent 10 years working in a local church here in Lexington, Kentucky. I was at Southland Christian Church for 10 years. Prior to that, this is going to lead to how I got to Cosley, so I'll go quickly here. Loved the church, volunteered in the church, but never thought about church as a vocation. So I went to undergrad, got a business degree, was doing some marketing work, and volunteered at my church. And I kept volunteering. They would give me more responsibility. And finally, I remember the day they said, Jeff, you're going to do this until we have to pay you to do it. I laughed it off. And then that's exactly what happened. I went to seminary for 2 quick years, got a leadership degree. They created a position and hired me. I was there 10 years. Through that time, I enjoyed it. I loved it. It was great. But towards the end of that 10 years, I just felt, a desire to go back into, as they call the marketplace. I've heard Bill Hybels kind of coin that phrase a long time ago. And so my heart was just starting to open back up to the marketplace. And here at Cosley, I had an acquaintance who was working here, and he called me and he said, Jeff, we work with churches all the time. You have a background in marketing and things of that nature. Would you ever consider coming to work for us? And I was like, funny thing, I've been thinking about that a lot lately. So that's how I ended up here. I was in, marketing and business, 10 years in the local church, and then now I'm at Cosley. So I don't necessarily run the place by any stretch of the imagination, but that's how I ended up here. That's the long and short of it.
Interesting.
Yep.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
All right, Jeff. I really, if Nacho hadn't kind of set me straight there, I was going to have you sing a couple bars just to really test out that Elvis connection.
Yeah.
You do not want that.
But instead, I'm going to ask you, so Cosley, you guys have been a sponsor of the Church Planning Podcast. So that leads me to believe that you're something church planners are going to want. Tell me a little bit about Cosley. What do you guys do?
Yeah. So what we're trying to do is create or provide a resource or a tool that makes it super simple for the people of your church to invite a friend to church. So there's really a statistic that kind of stuck in our head some time ago, and that is, I think we got this from Lifeway. They had some research and a survey. It said only 2% of churchgoers say that they invite a friend to church. 2%. But the other statistic is 96% of people who don't have a church home, so they go to church or would consider going to church if someone would ask them. And we said, wow, you've got 2% on one side, 96% on the other. What can we do to bring those two things together? So we have created a resource, a tool that makes it easy for the people of your church to invite a friend. So what we do, if you guys want me to I'll just jump and keep going.
Yeah, go
here.
for it.
So,
tell us, man.
Because
in one sense, right? Like I just asked my friend, right? Like I just asked him. So what does Cosley do that helps you to actually, like, what happens?
Yeah. So, and that's one of the things I think you guys would understand, and many people do, that people are just hesitant to ask a friend, especially for this day and age. I think they're hesitant that maybe someone will say no, someone will think they're weird, somebody, like I say, will turn them down and won't want to go. And so there's just this hesitancy to do that. So,
or even that asking someone to go to church is going to be invasive. I think that's, people nowadays, they have this sense of like, it's intruding on someone, it's bringing up religion and politics, which you're not supposed to do. Everybody.
That's right.
So it's almost like ironically, America, one of the rudest cultures on the planet. And when it comes to religion, suddenly we're very polite.
Sure. Yeah, or what will that, if that person does go to church with me, what will they think when I'm there, when they come? Maybe they won't like it, maybe they'll never want to come back, but for some reason, and I'm sure there's a whole list of reasons, people are just uncomfortable. So you've got a 2% sitting there, but then you've got a 96% that says, if someone would ask me, I would go. So what we do is we partner with world-class organizations like Compassion International, for example. So we set up a mission project every month with someone like Compassion, and we may provide meals one month, clean water, a day of care, audio Bibles, something along those lines. And anytime an attendee of your church checks in on the church Facebook page, tags the church location on Instagram, or leaves a Facebook review, that triggers a donation to that month's mission project. Again, be it meals, water, clothing, audio Bibles, etc. So the church partners with us. There's a monthly fee to be a part of it, and that's what actually pays for the donation. So the person attending church doesn't cost them anything. But what happens, and this is sort of where the invitation comes in, if I were to check in at my church on Facebook, on average, 200 people that know me, 200 of my Facebook friends, will see that I was at church that morning. And if you tag them, if you say, hey, loved the service this morning, wish you were here, any of those type of things, of course, they're going to get a notification and see it. But so are, on average, 200 other people. So we're making it easy for the people of your church to say, hey, I'm at church this morning or this evening, or we're having a Labor Day cookout or whatever it is, and hundreds of people are going to see that. The same thing on Instagram. You know, if you tag a location, all your followers see it. And then if you leave a Facebook review, of course, people see that as well. So while it's not necessarily a face-to-face invitation, people now consider social media word of mouth. So we've taken that and try to capitalize and say, let's use this word of mouth that will blast it out to hundreds of people, where you're more willing to say, I'm at Southland this morning, or I'm at Southland this evening, and here's what we're up to. So real quick, if you want to look at it this way, incentivizing or motivating your members, they will do one of those three actions because they want to help give back. You know, it's Matthew, it's helping the person in need. They want to give back to someone in need.
Okay. So let me see if I got this. So Sunday morning, I go into church, and the pastor, tell me if this is how it works. The pastor says, hey, welcome this morning. Hey, everybody, get your phone, check in this morning, because when you do, this much is going to be, for each person that checks in, this much money goes towards Compassion Project this month.
Absolutely. And one of the things, especially in the church world, we always tell the church, hey, make sure you lead with vision. And so, good morning. Welcome to Southland. Glad you guys are here. Hey, really quick, everybody grab your smartphone. Yes, you're in church, but I'm going to give you permission to grab your smartphone. Here at Southland, we're all about giving back, helping people in need. That's what we want to do. That's who we are. This morning, or this month, you could say, we're helping provide meals for kids with Compassion International. And if you want to get involved, all you have to do is check in on Facebook. That's going to trigger a donation of a meal to a child in need.
Okay. So that is cool, man. That is really cool. You've been an advertiser with us, and that is not something that is obvious right away.
Okay.
That is super cool. So church planners right away, one of the biggest things that church planners, they want to do, and this is hard. Let's get in the mind of the church planner for a second. It's hard for them because they're thinking, I'm on local mission. I want to plant my church with a hardwired DNA of global mission.
Yes.
Or even beyond this church, maybe even community mission, right? But it's so hard when you got like the guy, he's in there, he's pouring everything he's got into launching this thing or what have you. But all of a sudden now you have helped him start off from day one, hit the ground running, already thinking globally, or already thinking bigger than my church, getting his community. That's actually, like you said, about vision. That's hardwiring the DNA into it's not just about us.
Yeah, that's one of the things we see with a lot of church planners is you you don't have the missions committee together. You may not even have a missionary that you sponsor, but you want to jump in right away. How can we help? What can we do? So we're trying to make it very simple to say, hey, we'll set up the mission project. We even give you the marketing materials. You'll get social media posts, emails, newsletters, printouts, slides for your screen every week, a countdown timer, announcement videos. We provide all that. You don't even have to have a design team. We create it all. You put a slide up and say, hey, see right here, we're helping provide meals for kids this month with Compassion. Just check in on Facebook, tag us on Instagram, leave a Facebook review. We'll cover the cost of it. The church is saying that. We'll cover the cost. And in the meantime, you'll be telling a couple hundred friends what we're up to here at church.
Right.
So you're broadcasting that out as outreach in a way.
So it's like a social media generator as well, is what you're kind of saying.
Absolutely. We're trying to create a turnkey social media campaign. So yeah, we want the viral nature of social media to work for your church and let your church members be the ones driving it. You're not having to pay for Facebook ads. You're saying, however many people are here who check in, let them push the social media viral nature out there about your church.
So what exactly is this? Is this an app? Is this, help me understand the connection between someone goes up there on stage during the announcements, tells everyone to pull out their phone and do this. Cause obviously you could just have them go directly to Facebook, but then there's no tracking. So what's the interface?
So, I'll say first, for the end user, for the person sitting in your church, all they need to do is use their smartphone, or if they had an iPad, they could, as long as they check in, that's all they have to do. For the church, we do have an app, but they don't even have to download it. When they join us, they give us permission to track their Facebook and Instagram account. And that's how we know how many check-ins, how many tags, how many Facebook reviews. And we put that on a dashboard. They look exactly at what we're looking at. But for the church member, all they're doing is opening up the Facebook app, hits check-in, types in the church, or, the church pops up and they're ready to go. So for the user, it's just like everything else. They just check in. That's it. That's all that's needed.
What are all the different social media platforms that you guys are integrating with?
So right now it's Facebook and Instagram, because those are the top two, still blowing it out of the water. And we get the best analytics from it. So we can actually show churches who's tagged you on Instagram, what the post says, and if it was their first time, and right from the dashboard, they click and go to the person's profile. We can show them likes, check-ins, impressions from check-ins, Facebook reviews. So we've narrowed it down to those three things because we get the best data and analytics, and you get the best reach. So that's why we're going after those three things.
How long have you guys been doing this?
A couple years now. Yeah, we're probably working with over 700 churches. We've been doing it for a couple of years, and it's just kind of taken off. So we're still loving it. I mean, my heart's been in the local church. My partner, Drew, his father was a minister at Willow Creek. His brother's a worship leader. His sister's a church planter. So for us, it's just a great way to bridge the two together.
Tell me, Jeff, can I call you Mr. Presley?
You can if you want.
Tell me, what are some of the stories of people that have used it? Like, what are some of the testimonies that you've heard?
Yeah. So one of my favorite, and this is one from a while ago, but it really sticks out. So it was a church plant. We work with churches of all sizes, but really church planters is a heart of ours. This guy, he was in North Carolina, moved in, and it wasn't the lead church planter, it was someone on his team. They had reached out to their neighbors, their next door neighbors. They would have a barbecue, a cookout, the kids playing in the backyard. They would invite the friends over, but the neighbors knew that they were with this new church plant. They were very resistant, standoffish. Later they found, they were afraid they were going to get invited to church or something. They just didn't want anything to do with the church. True story. The couple that lived across the family, I should say, that lived across the street from these two houses started checking into the church. And the neighbors who wanted nothing to do with the church saw these check-ins, saw what was going on, and thought, hey, these guys are pretty good. They're giving back. They're doing good. And if they're going to church over there, you know what? we'll give it a try. And the neighbors ended up going to church because they saw the family across the street checking in and what was going on. And they just went,
Okay.
hey, if they're doing it, maybe we should do it. That's one of my favorites.
Okay, so that was what I was going to ask, because if I'm thinking, this is huge. One of the hugest innovations in church planning that I know of right now is when you harness unchurched people into mission. And because my theory is that the more that people see Christianity in action or on mission, the more the phenomenon in Acts happens, where it says, and they grew in the esteem of the people, and the Lord added to the number of those being saved daily. So the idea is when you grow in the esteem of the community, when they see you feeding the poor, when they see you doing all these things, it paves the way for the gospel. It will never replace the gospel, but it opens up like that story you just told. So that was my major question is, let's say I get Causely and, everything's running on your machine back at house. I post, hey, I'm checking in at Refuge Long Beach, the most awesome church in the world. And my neighbors in Long Beach see that and they go, oh, okay, cool. Are they going to see the cause that it's going to be going to?
Yes. If your church attendee member, whoever's checking in, if they mention it. So one of the things we do is we create hashtags. So we'll create one that all the churches can use, but we encourage your local church to create one as well so that you can also have your own conversation going. So it could be Refuge Church Gives Back or, whatever. You can create your own hashtag. But those hashtags will link to those conversations. But we're giving the church 6 to 8 social media posts a month. So if I see you checked in at Refuge Church, I click on it, takes me to Refuge Church Facebook page. I go, hey, what goes on over there? And I see, oh man, they're providing meals or shoes or audio Bibles or whatever. That's pretty cool. And so it does link me into that as well. Cool. But all that has to happen is a check-in. The hashtag doesn't even make the donation. It's strictly just the check-in. That's what triggers the donation. Right.
So let me ask you a question here that I know it's going to be going through a lot of pastors' minds right now. They're like, okay, sounds like a great idea. Love the whole theory of it. But obviously giving to the cause is not free. The church is clearly paying a fee. However, how much is being provided? And what I mean by that is like, no one's going to want to stand up there and be like, hey guys, every time you check in, we're giving 1 penny towards a meal towards this family over here. But at the same time, you can't be like scaling it to the point where it's like, oh, you know what? That one thing took care of this, poor little child for a whole, the whole $20 a month. So what I'm getting at is how do they know and how do they communicate to the members of their church?
Sure.
This is what that actually translates into. So we don't overpromise, but we're not also under-promising. I don't even know if that question makes any sense.
No, that makes great sense, Pete. We get that question all the time. So couple of things that make people feel a whole lot better about this. Number one, any charity that we partner with, any mission partner, they have to go through a long vetting process, as you can imagine. And a couple of things that I love, they have to agree to designated funding, meaning every penny donated goes to the cause, not to salaries, marketing, upgrades. It goes to the cause. And we have third-party accountability. Network for Good oversees all the transactions because reputation means everything. Now, to circle back to your original question there, everybody, let's use Compassion. So if we get together with Compassion, we say, Compassion, what's your biggest need this month? They say it's meals for kids. We go, okay, how much can you provide a meal for? Meals obviously are very affordable. So we then have to determine how many donations will pay for a meal. Usually it's probably a couple. So each check-in is worth about roughly 20 to 25 cents. Each review or check-in is worth about 20 to 25 cents. So it's really about the good that's being provided and how many check-ins will cover that. So a meal is a couple check-ins, a pair of shoes, 10 check-ins, an audio Bible, a whole lot more than that. But we can provide a week of clean water for one check-in because it's going towards a filtration system that's going to last a real long time. So it's always with the mission partner, what is the good, quantifiable, tangible good that people can associate with how much does it cost? And then we say, okay, this many check-ins will provide it.
So could a church then, let's use the meal as the example. 2 check-ins equals a meal, ballpark. And so they know that's what it is that month. I mean, I'm assuming they have some sort of.
All the materials say that, and it's all about the church and the cause. And everything says 2 check-ins will equal a meal, for example.
Right. So, so you could have the person doing the announcement go, "Hey guys, 2 check-ins is going to equal a meal over here. Let's go ahead and let's make sure that you're going to do 2 check-ins this month minimum. But then let's also do a special little, hey, why don't you write a check for another $5, whatever. Let's give an additional amount to this cause to really get the church, on mission together and pulling behind a certain thing. I mean, are they able to do that and then link up with you guys and go, hey, here's some extra funds we want going towards this?
If somebody wanted to do that, absolutely. What we believe and we have seen is these small, if you want to call them micro donations, these small habits of generosity, there is a component of feeling good about it. And so we believe and have seen when your people get in the habit of giving back and it doesn't cost them anything, when you come and ask them to put skin in the game, they're much more likely to do it. So what we encourage churches to do is, if let's say we're doing shoes for kids with Haiti Partners, that's one of our mission partners. What if you guys for that same month did a shoe drive where people brought in shoes and you donated it to the local Salvation Army? People are much more likely to jump on board. Or let's say we're doing clean water for families, and you guys are about to take a mission trip to Mexico, and maybe you want to install a well for a church. People are much more likely to jump on board because they've experienced, we call it social joy, the social joy of every week celebrating. We provided meals, we provided shoes, we provided water. Now you're saying, come with us to Mexico. Let's do a shoe drive, or let's write a check for Hurricane Harvey. They're much more likely to jump in.
That's rad. Well, man, look, that makes a lot of sense. And I actually think this is really good. What kind of pricing breakdown are we looking at?
Yeah, great question. So we have 3 packages. They're feature-based, and your donations are included. We did a fixed expense because we learned early on churches hated variable amounts because they can't budget for it. So we created fixed expense. Donations are included. So we start at $99 a month. There are no contracts or commitments. As long as you want to keep going, you keep going, stop at any time. So it's $99, $139, $199. So that's what we're looking at. And I'm happy to talk to anybody, answer questions, whatever the case might be. You can upgrade or downgrade to get more features, to get more analytics, more engagement on social media, and donate more. So as you scale up, you donate more and you get more features.
That's pretty cool.
How can people reach out to you, Jeff, and connect with you?
Yeah. So I'm just going to give you my cell phone because I call and text people all the time from my cell phone. 859-983-8493. Or you can just email me. It's Jeff, Jeff, at Causley.com. CAUSELY.com. And that was probably the most boring part of the show, but it was necessary. So
I cannot tell you how difficult it was for me to say your commercial every time I get to Causley, because it's a word I've never said before in my life.
Well, so what the idea is, everything goes to a great cause, and that's where
it makes sense now after the podcast.
But when I tell people how to spell it, I say write the word cause and put LY on the end of it. So we thought it was clever, but people can't ever spell it. But that's what it is. It's the word cause with LY on the end. So it was clever in when you're thinking it up, but then it's terrible for people to spell.
Well, Jeff, one of the things
that's just because that's right.
One of the things that we always do is we have a final question that everyone waits for when we do our interviews. So here it is, Jeff.
Okay.
If you were to get into a physical fist fight with Elvis, who would win?
Elvis Presley.
Elvis Presley.
If I were to get in a physical fist fight with Elvis Presley, who would win?
Yeah.
Honest answer, he would, because he was a black belt in karate. He actually started his own, I guess you would call it dojo, his own Tennessee Martial Arts Academy. He would win.
What?
Yes. He
Okay,
was a black
so
belt.
that was a good answer, because I just learned something that made Elvis even cooler.
Yes. He had a black belt in karate. He started the Tennessee Martial Arts Academy, so he would definitely take me out, no doubt about it.
That's how he got all of his moves. That's all I'm saying.
But I would outrun him. So let's just say, because, as he got towards the end of his life, he gained a little bit of weight and he would be in a fancy, kind of jumpsuit there. So I could outrun him, but he would take me down in the fist fight.
Yeah, but he also was packing heat, and he was a federal marshal, so he wouldn't mess around. He just unload on you and be like, "I taught that boy a lesson." Hey, that's so rad, man. Hey, Jeff, son of Elvis Presley, has been with us today. He is with Causley.com. Mm-hmm. Jeff, it has actually been really cool, man, because I am ashamed to say that after having you on for a couple months now, I feel like I want to go get this thing, and it's cool, man. So. Guys, Causley.com, check him out. And
just real quick, everyone, if you need to reach Jeff directly, you can reach him at 859-983-8493. Again, 859-983-8493.
And my wife loves that I gave out my cell phone on a podcast, I promise.
So if everyone calls him on September, just joking.
No, so listen, when's your
vacation?
Today's my birthday, but
happy
I know
birthday!
that this probably isn't being released today. I was going to say you could just text me happy birthday, but I'm sure they'll hear this on a different day. So
here we go.
If you guys want to connect with him, give him a happy belated birthday.
There you go.
This is what we always say on our birthday.
Could you shut up and give us the money?
I'm just saying.
There you go. I like that. And you guys know this because you run the ad, but we'll offer a promo. We have an onboarding fee of $99 because if we could do a support coach call, we give you product for your church. We'll waive that. So anybody that wants to just jump on board, there is no onboarding fee. We'll waive that for them.
Awesome. Very cool. Guys, remember, there is no contract locking you in. Get on there, try it out. See if it just gets your people thinking broader than themselves.
Yep.
All right. Well, hey, guys, Causley.com. This has been Peyton and Pete for a rare reunion, and Jeff Presley and Arnold sign us out.
Remember, if you are called to church planting, go hardcore or go home.
You've been listening to Hardcore Church Planting. Hardcore Church Planting has been brought to you by the Church Planter Podcast and the Church Planter Magazine, which is available in the App Store for both Apple and Android devices. If you like this episode, leave us a positive review. If you didn't like this episode, we'll be happy to give you your money back.